are many books and movies out there talking about a young person discovering something he or she didn't know before about the past and going in to research it. And not surprisingly, as this is a rather popular premise, there is now a group of adventure games based on that. The two games I want to talk about today are Haunted Past: The Realm of Ghosts, which came out very recently. It's brand new. I think it has a February release day. And an older game, Margrave: Curse of the Severed Heart. Haunted Past is a pretty good game in terms of the graphics and in terms of the puzzles, but it is pretty easy and straightforward and traditional, especially if you're playing in the relaxed mode and not in the expert mode. In other words, where you have objects and areas of interest highlighted for you. That said, it is very atmospheric. It has this very nice kind of dark color palette and a pretty good story behind it. It starts by this young woman receiving a letter that she had inherited this enormous mansion, and having never had a home of her own, she goes in to investigate, only to stumble into some very strange and spooky things. Both of these games do not really have a map. I'll talk about Margrave separately, but Haunted Past definitely does not have a map. I wish it had one, but it does give you a clue when the area is cleared, and it is reliable, so that means you will not have to go back to the area once that label pops up, area cleared. So that kind of helps, but it does get a little bit messy when you're trying to navigate this house and get a little bit lost without a map. There is a lot of retracing of your own steps and trying to get to the right place. Like I said, good game, fun. You know, women like games with a central female character, and this one has one. And if you get Platinum Edition of Haunted Past, you get a whole extra chapter, which I always love, which is also a teaser for the next game in the series. So I'm kind of looking forward to that. Looking forward for that coming out to see what else I can play in that series. Margrave is actually a fairly old series of games that started way back when the hidden object games first became popular. And the first two games in the series are very, very traditional hidden object games with like these very logical, chaotic hidden object scenes and maybe just a handful of major objectives to be accomplished. So the first two games I did play, but I got bored with them pretty quickly because they had no story to speak of and no challenge other than the hidden object bit. Margrave: The Curse of the Severed Heart is a huge leap, a light years leap from the first two games, because it has a story, it has real live actors who play the characters, including the title character, Edwina Margrave, on her quest. And it really has amazing graphics, really fantastic music, very intelligent puzzles, and it is not at all straightforward. It's kind of it's a weekend game, and that's if you're going pretty quickly. So if you have a few days to play, that's definitely a good game for that. Again, the topic is very similar. The premise of the game is very similar. This young lady, Edwina Margrave, is the last descendant of an old family, and she is going into this kind of secluded area to investigate the death of her parents and to figure out what happened. So as she gets there, the fun part about the story is that not only do the scenes change and the objectives change, but also the characters change, and people who we thought were somebody turned out to be somebody else entirely. So that part is very fun. There are some good video scenes. Just really fantastic game. And again, it's got this really fantastic mood to it. Some of it is mystical, some of it is mechanical, some of it is a little bit of both, but a great exploration game. And again, if you get the extended version of it, there is an extra chapter you can play, which is not a very long chapter and not hugely difficult, but still a fun little extension, especially because you sort of get into the game so much, you're sort of sorry when it finishes, and having that extra little chapter to play kind of allows you to prolong the experience. So, same premise, two somewhat different games. Margrave also does not have a map of the entire environment where the game takes place, although it does have a map that deals with a specific task that's a little bit more helpful. But in general, both good, interesting game. Margrave, if you haven't figured it out already, is definitely my favorite of the two. But Haunted Past is definitely worth taking a look at and walking through. Especially, like I said, if you prefer the kind of game that is not terribly complex or frustrating when it comes to the puzzle side of it. Check them both out. Until we meet again, this is Maria Kay, Ms. Review Central. Bye.